I think we were all calling you at the same time, too.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I got a guy working in the backyard here on drainage issues, so I was out consulting with him. Sorry.
That's totally fine. All right, should we go ahead and get started? Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. With that, did we have anybody signed up for public comment? No? Phil, you sure? Yep. Okay. All right. With that, we will move on to governing bodies. And so we will reconvene as the Library Service District governing body and open our budget hearing. Sorry about that. Megan, it's your show.
So this is, they're all the same. The hearing on the 2021 budget that was approved by the Budget Committee on April 16th, 2020.
Do we have any public comments about the Library Service District budget for 2020, 2021, or commissioner comments? Do we need a motion? No? Okay. I will close the hearing then, and we will reconvene as the Coos County 4-H and Extension Service governing body. And now we have a hearing on the 2020-2021 budget approved by the Budget Committee on April 16th, 2020 for the 4-H and Extension Service District. I will now open the hearing. Do we have any comments? Hearing none, I will close the hearing. And we will reconvene as CCAT. And our agenda item is CCAT Resolution 20-05-090L, initiating the dissolution of the Coos County Area Transit Service District. Nathaniel.
Okay, so this resolution 2005-090L initiates the ORS Chapter 198 district dissolution process for CCAT. As you know, the Coos County Area Transportation District was created to replace CCAT as the entity responsible for providing public transportation services in Coos County. That entity has received substantially all assets necessary to replace CCAT. That took place actually in January of this year. And so thus it appears that CCAT is no longer necessary to perform the services for which it was formed, and it is appropriate to begin the formal dissolution procedure pursuant to ORS Chapter 198.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Move to approve Resolution 20-05-090L, initiating the dissolution of the Coos County Transit Service District.
And do we have a second? Thank you. Discussion? I think it's important to note for anybody who's watching that we are not changing transit services in any way. Last election, there was a board elected to create the Coos County Area Transit District, and that district is now doing all of the public transit functions, and we believe that's actually a better representation for the community.
Yep.
So with that, any other comments?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, I'm scrolling down slowly. Takes a while. Still scrolling. With that, we will reconvene as the Coos County Board of Commissioners, and our first agenda item is the Coos County budget hearing. This is the time set for a hearing on the 2020-2021 budget that was approved by the Budget Committee on April 16th, 2020. Do we have anyone who wishes to testify on the 2020-2021 approved budget? Commissioners, any comments from you?
Nope.
No comment.
All right. with that, we will close the budget hearing. Thank you very much. Good job, Megan.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Our next agenda item is sale of certain county forest land. Kathy Hathaway,
Morning.
good morning.
So this is just a small piece of land off Seven Devils Road. It contains about 1.14 acres. We advertised in the World to have a public hearing this morning to see if there were any comments regarding the sale of the county forest. This one tax account known as 585202. It's, it's a small piece of land. It lies on the east side of the road, and our other ownership is on the west side of the road.
Okay.
And so it's not really very manageable for us. If it were to sell, the proceeds would go into the Forest Parks Trust Fund.
Okay. Do we have any discussion about this?
No.
Any public comments? I've got none. So does the board wish to find it's in the best interest of the county to sell this parcel at private sale and approve order number 20-05-025L?
I would.
Okay,
I would.
all right. I'll take that as a
And I
motion in a
move we
second.
Approve and sign order 20-05-025L.
All right,
Lot 585202.
Okay, second.
perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
And that concludes our hearings and takes us on to our first agenda item, which is amendment number 1 to grant agreement. Am I on the right one? Sorry. Anyway, award the West Central Boulevard Winter Lake School North Elm Street project.
Morning.
Good morning. This is your Safe Routes to Schools
Yes.
project? Great.
So we had 5 bidders on it, and our high was 1.7 million, and our low was 1.604 million. So it was a little bit over budget, so I applied for more STP money to cover that, and we had walked around yesterday with the engineers to do some cost-saving measures that will save some more money on it. And we discussed all this with Billiter Marine.
Okay.
And we got our pre-bid next week, so we'd like to award the contract to Billiter Marine for 1.604, 753 and 89 cents.
Move to award West Central Boulevard Winter Lake School North Elm Street contract to Belter Marine for the amount of $1,604,753.89.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I second that.
Discussion?
That'll be great to improve the whole walking clear out to Winter Lake School.
Make a big difference.
Yeah, it'll make a huge difference.
It will make a big difference. Yeah, John and I walked that stretch from the road department over to Winter Lakes, and it would have been nice to have a sidewalk.
Yeah, because you're really close to the traffic, within a foot or two. Yeah.
Was that how many bidders you expected?
What's that?
That was quite a few bidders. I was surprised you got
I was
5.
surprised too,
Okay.
5 of them.
Mhm.
And they were all pretty close,
Yeah.
pretty tight bidding, so.
At
Pretty
some point,
competitive.
I guess in the future, we go from Winter Lakes out to the highway.
Yeah, that little section
Mhm,
there.
That's a little short section. Couple 150 yards long, maybe 100 yards long, something like that.
We gotta wait, they're gonna improve the barn and do that, so we
Oh.
gotta see what they're gonna do there first,
Yeah.
because they'll improve the entrances to that, the new gymnasium to look
Mhm.
part of the school project, so
Yep,
we'll wait till they do that.
okay, thanks.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Could I take a minute to commend John for initiating this project? I mean, it's gonna be a great improvement, benefit the county, the community of Coquille and the school district. And, I know he's got plenty to do, and to take this on, I feel warrants a big thank you.
Absolutely.
Mhm, Good job.
Yes. All right, the next one is amendment number 1 to grant agreement 33101, Safe Routes to Schools Program, West Central Boulevard, Bike Lane, Sidewalk, and Curve Ramp additions.
Yeah, this is Amendment number 1, we wanted to extend the date to October 2nd. They had the completion date at September 9th. And just felt that was too soon, so they agreed to that. So we're extending it to October 2nd, so we get the whole month of September for construction.
Great.
Madam Chair, I move to approve and authorize Chair to sign the amendment number 1 to SRTS Grant Agreement 33101 with ODOT.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next agenda item is a request to start a new hire above step 2. John Rowe?
Okay, we had a maintenance worker 4 position open. We moved up Jason Vineyard. He was a maintenance worker 3, step 5. So we want to start him as a maintenance worker 4, step 5. That gives him a $1 raise. So we still have this thing, the groups are so close together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're requesting, to give him at least $1 raise
Okay.
with that.
Madam Chair, move to approve hiring current maintenance worker 3, step 5 employee Jason Vineyard to the vacant maintenance worker 4 position at step 5.
And approve resolution 20-05.
2005-092P.
Perfect. Do we have a second? Okay. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Do you have a late agenda
Then we got
item?
one late agenda
You
item.
look like you weren't moving, so I figured you must. Request approval of resolution for temporary reassignment for Brian Couch,
Yes.
solid waste.
Brian's getting laid off at solid waste, and we did have a operator position open at solid waste, so we want to move Brian into that position. So we want to start him out at $20.32 an hour. That's about a 10-cent increase from what he's getting paid right now.
Okay. Discussion? Commissioner Sweet, do you want to talk about this at all?
Again, I do. I just, but mainly just to commend the departments, the fair and public works and solid waste for working together. As we all know, we're not going to have a fair this year. That's going to put us short of revenue and put the fair in a position of not being able to keep their maintenance person, Brian Couch, on hand, and so they worked nicely together to make this work out. And Brian's a good employee, and I think he'll serve us well at solid waste, and will protect his tenure with the county.
He's very capable of doing the job, so.
Okay. Madam Chair, move to approve temporary reassignment from the fair grounds to solid waste of Brian Couch, the position of solid waste equipment operator at step 3, pay grade 200, an hourly rate of $20.32 an hour.
And there is a
I
resolution.
second that.
There's a resolution for that one, too. So if we could include it and approve resolution 20-05-097P.
As amended.
Thank you.
And I second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is 2020-2021 Coos County Committee on Court Security Expenditure Plan. Thomas?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I am here today to seek approval of fiscal year 21's court security plan and budget with some anticipated overall project cost of about $59,000 out of that account.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay.
simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, move to approve the plan and expenditure authority for the 2021 fiscal year of 2021 for the court security expenditure plan.
All right.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me today.
All right. Next is approval of a stipend for additional duties. Sheriff Zanny.
Good morning. I'm
Good
going to
morning.
stand if you don't mind.
It's
Just to-
totally up to you.
Oh, well, then I'm going to stand.
Okay.
Basically, as you know, the Coos County Budget Committee had chosen not to fill the emergency services manager position at the time, and basically because of the budget situation for the county were open positions, and it was determined we would spread those duties amongst current staff rather than almost on staff as it's written there. And I guess that's because if I almost had a staff person do emergency management, and I don't, so now it's, I don't know, just, and the funding source is listed. And basically, this is approval of pay administrative cap and a monthly stipend of $500 retroactive to February 1st, 2020, when Mike Murphy left employment, and because he'd taken on the extra duties of fulfilling that position along with the other duties he currently has.
Of course.
Okay. Madam Chair, move to approve Resolution 20-05-091P.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I want to thank Captain Fabrizio for taking that over.
Yes, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
really appreciate it.
Now I can't have second thoughts. It's done.
Right,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
vote
that's
on this
true.
quickly. All those in
But-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But it also helped
Opposed?
balance our budget too.
Motion carries. It did help. Thank you. All right, the next agenda item is transfer of appropriations to cover over aggregate cap medical expenses. This feels like Groundhog Day.
It does. Every time I'm going, okay, and basically the jail received the following invoice from our medical provider, WellPath, on April 30th for $8,736 over the cap. Invoice numbers listed.
Of course.
You have copies attached. Jail is not budgeted for over cap medical expenses and requesting transfer of appropriations to cover this invoice in the amount of $8,736. And this is within keeping what we discussed in the past about making the board aware of the over costs, so you could see, and again, we have all those listings, and unfortunately, there's not much we can do in some cases.
No,
Okay,
but
ma-
I think this is really helpful for the board to just
Yeah.
remember how much this is costing. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, move to approve Resolution 20-05-095B, appropriations transfer in the amount of $8,736 to pay invoice 64941.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
You, Sheriff. Next, we have approval of property appraiser job descriptions.
No changes.
It's all yours.
There were some, three or four different job descriptions written over the last 15 to 20 years. We just cleaned them up, cleaned up the language in them, and made them all look pretty much the same, just the relative differences between a level 1 and 2 and 3.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the job descriptions for property appraiser 1, property appraiser 2, and property appraiser 3?
So moved.
And a
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And thank you for your suggestion this morning about putting a link to the YouTube channel and Coos Health and Wellness's information on there. We'll get that taken care of today. It's okay.
I'm a Luddite when it comes to Facebook and YouTube. I had to bug Bobby several times to find out where she was getting the information at her fingertips, and I couldn't. I looked and looked. But, thank you.
I have to Google it every time to find it, so I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Scrolling down. Our next agenda item is authorization to do foreclosure lien searches.
On April 3rd, 2020, letters were sent to 4 companies to provide a cost for doing lien searches on county foreclosed property. There are currently 55 accounts on the 2019 foreclosure list. JEL Property Research and Consulting was the only one of the 4 companies that sent in a bid at $195 per report.
And they're the ones that you had last year too, right?
Yeah, we've had them for 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So it's just going to be interesting to see how it's going to work if we're not open to the public in time. Because
Right.
she actually comes down and goes into the clerk's office and does all the research.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll cross that bridge, I
Okay.
guess.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, move to approve Coos County Tax Department to have JEL Property Research and Consulting to do lien search reports on the 2019 foreclosure list.
All right, do we have a second? Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next is Order 20-04-024L, dissolving the Coos County Area Transit Service District, CCAT. Nat?
Well, because the CCAT governing body passed Resolution 2005-090 that the county now has, we can which formally initiated the dissolution of CCAT. The next step is for the Board of Commissioners to approve an order formally dissolving the district. We've been over the fact that there is a district that will seamlessly is providing the same services as CCAT, so this is a formality of winding down the entity that there is no longer a purpose for. So once the district is dissolved by this order, the CCAT governing body will continue to exist as the Board of Trustees to wind down the affairs of the district. It is anticipated that this will involve closing remaining bank accounts, transferring the remaining balances to CCATD, the new district, for the provision of transportation services, and then making provisions for the remaining books and records of CCAT.
Okay.
Madam Chair, move to approve Order 20-04-024L, dissolving the Coos County Area Transit Service District.
All right, do we have a second?
I second that, and I'd like to note how nice it is that the CCAT governing body and the Board of Commissioners can work so closely together on this.
I'm surprised they agreed.
Me too.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, move to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Late agenda items, 7A, request award of grazing lease and authorize county forester to sign. Forestry.
So we solicited proposals for grazing approximately 120 acres of pasture located off the county forest lands on Seven Devils Road. Two proposals were received, which we've attached copies for you to look at. Our recommendation is to accept the proposal as presented from Frontier Unlimited LLC. We're also asking that, if you agree to that, awarding the lease to Frontier Unlimited, that you authorize the county forester to sign the lease agreement and with Frontier Unlimited in consultation with county council.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, the Board of Commissioners will find in the best interest of the county to lease the grazing lands identified in the attached draft lease agreement and award the lease to Frontier Unlimited LLC, and that the county forester would sign the lease agreement with Frontier Unlimited in consulting with county council.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? It's a 5-year lease, is that correct?
It actually is a 10-year lease.
Mhm.
Okay.
The first 3 years being free, then it goes to $14,400 per year after that.
Yeah,
The
they're
first
gonna
3
do
years, they would be building fence and
extensive
making
work. out there.
extensive work to the
Mhm.
property.
Right. I suppose I mean, it says proposal for yearly rent for the final 2 years of a 5-year lease term. Is that,
Right, and did you, Nat worked on it, I think we, both people
Both
who.
proposers wanted a
a 10-year?
10-year lease as opposed to the 5.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so that's what the direction ended up going. Initially, it was solicited for 5
5
years,
years.
with the first 3 years being deferred because of the work. But the concern was that if you're gonna put a lot of capital improvements into a property and then only have 2 years guaranteed after that, it was
Okay.
a bit of a issue for the proposers.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of work to be done out there.
It is a lot.
Mhm.
Extreme amount of work, yeah.
Okay.
The
Any-
concern I have is that 10 years is a long time, and we have a way out of this, do we not, if they don't perform the work as,
We do.
as described?
Yeah, if the renovations as set forth in the proposals and in the lease agreement aren't performed, then that's a termination for cause. And likewise, if the rent thereafter is not paid, that's a termination for cause.
Good, okay.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
The next one is request board approval for public health program administrator position. Mike?
Yes, our public health administrator is an interim temporary administrator, Kathy, and we'd like to now post and fill that position as well as approve the revised job description for the position.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, move to approve posting and filling of public health program administrator position and approve the revised updated job description.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next agenda item is request board approval for assistant director position. Mike?
Yes, so with the new CCO contracts and the budgetary constraints, we have restructured to align with that. And so with that, we transferred staff around as well as updated the job descriptions for core management. I'd like to request to reclassify Eric's position as the assistant director effective May 1st, starting at step 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we
Madam
have-
Chair, move to approve pay grade 821, approve job description for deputy director position, and approve resolution 20-05-096P, reclassifying Eric Gleason effective May 1, 2020.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And I believe our last agenda item is Doris Sitcom Rural Fire Protection District Vehicle Garage Project Construction Change Order Number 1. The project that just
Yes.
kept going.
5 years now.
Yeah, I got it.
5 years.
Well, they're doing stuff now.
It's exciting.
You know.
Yeah.
The vehicle garage for Dorsicum RFPD is currently under construction. Upon recommendation from consulting architectural firm HGE Architects, a decision was made to increase the concrete apron abutting the building from 5 feet to 12 feet to align with the pad for rain harvesting, and add 8 concrete bollards. I'm not exactly sure what those are. Request approval to the attached change order number 1 in the amount of $11,978.73, which directs the construction firm Win Elder Construction to make the requested changes. This is within the community development block grant budget, so there are no issues there.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, request the chair to sign change order number 1 for the Doris Sitcom Rural Fire Protection District Vehicle Garage Project in the amount of $11,978.73. The change order directs Win Elder Construction LLC to provide additional work on the project.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Should have happened about 3 or 4 years ago. Never mind.
Still very exciting. All those
Yeah.
in favor?
Aye.
You know
Opposed?
that
Motion carries.
people out at Sitcom Door really have done a lot of projects over the last 10 years or so. New fire halls, new libraries, all kinds of things, high-speed internet.
Yeah,
They are really going concern out there.
they are.
They should be really proud.
Absolutely. Commissioner comments?
Melissa, would the board have an appetite to discuss the little conflict we have between our bike trails and target shooters? Do you want to take that up at a later time?
I think it might be helpful to take it up at work groups next week. I mean, we've got signs out, unless you have a solution that you,
I have a solution in mind. I'll bring it up next week.
I did a survey. I went out yesterday and went out to all the turnoffs based on the number of complaints we had about shooting over the trails, et cetera.
yeah?
I found one location, two locations actually, where there were empty shells. One was up on the Beaver Hill route from Beaver Hill to Charleston, about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards this side of the turnoff. You
Mhm.
go down to Whiskey Run, which was up on the hill, and they were shooting basically towards the solid waste shooting range, into stumps and things, and I'm assuming that was not very safe, because if they missed the stump, those projectiles were going in that direction. And they were different pistol shells and some rifle shells and shotgun shells. Were not good.
Right.
And then right across from where they staged to unload the bicycles to go on the trails, there was probably a box of empty shotgun shells there, and one of the signs had been blasted. But that's the only two locations I found where they were shooting.
Okay. John, do you want to tell us what your proposal is, at least so we can be prepared for it?
Yeah, I have grave concern for the safety issue, for safety in our county forest, and about the disrespect that the target shooters seem to have for regulations and signage. And I'm about fed up with it. We have invested a good deal. County's form of the investment was to contribute 100 acres of forest land. And our Tioga Sports Park group has got a lot of grants, put a lot of money and a lot of personal time into creating a safe shooting environment in the form of the Tioga Sports Park. And I am to the point where I think that we should have this, an ordinance, or whatever you want to call it, in the county, just allowing target shooting on the county forest with some pretty severe fines for people that choose to disobey the ordinance. To me, it's a matter of safety, and it's a matter of protecting the county forest. And in the safety part of it, we have hikers, we have bicycle riders, we have motorcycle riders, we have mushroom pickers, we have loggers, we have foresters,
We have agate harvesters.
agate harvesters. It's okay to shoot them. And out in the forest. And I don't know that having the forest open to random target shooting and those other activities are compatible. And I sure as hell know that it's disrespectful to be shooting up trees and to be shooting up signs. And I have no more stomach for allowing people to use our forest as a target shooting facility.
Madam Chair, as the first president of the Tioga Sports Park Association, the shooting range, I was a bit dismayed to go out there and find where they were shooting pistols, rifles, shotguns with a not nearly adequate backstop. I mean, they were horizontal with the solid waste and the shooting range across the canyon. It wouldn't take much to get over there. They didn't have adequate backstop or anything, and that's totally irresponsible.
Oh, agreed. I think there's some totally irresponsible behavior going on. Phil, did you have a comment you wanted to make?
Yeah, I wanted to ask John if he gets that, what he thinks, this barring any shooting in the county forest other than maybe hunting and stuff. Is he gonna have the gates open, or is this just more restrictions on anybody that shoots a gun or anything else? We knew the bicycle trails were going through the forest, and Lance in here, that day said the shooting only applied to the trailheads, that the restrictions to hunting and other things didn't apply to that bicycle trail. And that's what he said right here. So what I want to know is he just going to lock the forest completely down to where what he says. I think he's acting like a little kid in a lot of his restrictions he wants to do. I'm for safety and everything else, and I haven't shot no trees up. So he's using a few people to really crack down and lock the county force up more than what it is. And that's all I got to say.
And I am really hesitant to see us shut down the whole forest for shooting. You know, I've gone out to the forest and shot before. I don't shoot up trees, and I shoot in a spot that's safe. But again, I don't know how we get people to hold some level of personal responsibility. I mean, that's not gun safety at all. You don't
No.
shoot in a situation like that.
No, I picked up, I don't know, multiple pistol rounds. I left some of them there, rifle rounds, etc. And there was almost no backstop.
Yeah.
And they were shooting just right out across, right to solid waste and right to the shooting range. That's not responsible.
No.
How do you, you don't really, I guess, other than shut down some of the roadways and only have ones that maybe have an adequate backstop. I don't know.
So you're
They-
telling, are
in
you
the past,
suggesting we
we've-
put up more gates? Because Phil's in favor of
Well,
that idea.
You know, there's a problem.
Kidding, Phil.
It was there was one place that people were going out and shooting, and it took about 2 great big huge dumpsters to clean up the mess.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
totally irresponsible.
Yeah.
We got people on another place where neighbors call me that live down on Highway 42. They're shooting out across, and they hear bullets go whizzing by their house all the time from up above. People are not seem to be responsible. They, of course, it's the minority that causes the problems always.
It is.
Well, he's proposing a spill fine and stuff.
Well-
See, that's what I'm referring to. If he gets that, then, okay, somebody's got to be responsible. They're fined for it and stuff. Why should I have to suffer, because somebody else is doing something? This world is getting bigger, more people all the time. The places where you can go are getting compressed more and more. And I'm telling you, I don't like it that I can't go out in the county forest and I gotta walk, 2 miles down the end of that road to hunt or something. He's a caretaker of the land. He's not I guess the king. Maybe we need some more Robin Hoods in this country. Because if that's what we're going to do, we're going to have people breaking even more laws.
Well, I think we're going to have multiple more discussions about this before we ever do something.
Thank you very
Agreed.
much. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's a very sore spot for me.
And Madam
Well, I
Chair-
know this is John, and I'd like to respond to Phil, and then I'll be done.
Please.
I want to keep the forest open. I want it to be a safe place. I want it to be a place where people are not irresponsibly trashing and shooting up the forest. And the reason I want to outlaw target practice on the forest is for those very reasons I just stated. I think it is a necessary step to keep the forest open for general and safe and responsible use by our citizens.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I said I would bring this up for discussion a little bit. We can discuss it later on also. I received, I don't know, 5 or 6 emails from people wanting us to discuss the possibility of putting on the ballot seceding from Oregon and joining Idaho.
Mhm.
I said I would bring it up. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I believe legal counsel has looked at it several times and felt that it wasn't a matter of county concern, it was a legislative matter. I'm sorry, I'm putting words in your mouth,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I
so
may need you to.
we've had a number of prospective petitions filed in the clerk's office. The county clerk is to conduct a review under some the statutory provision that cites the Oregon Constitution. My opinion has been that what has been put forward has not been legislative in character, rather administrative.
Scared myself.
The gist of it is that they're not asking the county to do something other than have discussions regarding decisions that are not ours to make, which doesn't, to me, appear to meet the criteria for a prospective petition. If someone wanted to ask the board to put an advisory question on the ballot, that would be something that would be an appropriate question to ask the board. Obviously, the board would be in no obligation to do that, but that would be something that would be appropriate.
So that's something that would go on the ballot potentially for November.
Right, so the board can refer advisory questions to the public, so certainly a question could be asked, does the public think that it would be a good idea to become a part of, sorry, I shouldn't, chuckling here, become part of Idaho? Seems slightly far-fetched to me, but certainly that could be put in front of the people to see what they think.
Is Idaho the only state you're considering, Commissioner Maine, or did you have other states in mind too?
That's what I was asked.
Okay.
I didn't have an opinion other than some time ago I thought, well, maybe Washington State would annex the tri-counties up there in the Portland metro area and we wouldn't have any more issues, but that's the same thing. It would be advisory only.
So what would be our deadline for putting that? We have quite some time, right, for a November ballot?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again, but I want to say it's sometime in July or August even. August,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Commissioner Maine, for bringing that up. Commissioner Sweet, did you have any other comments? Because I had a few
What
quick
about
things.
Maine? That's a nice state.
I don't think I've ever actually been to Maine.
It's a bit far
I
away
haven't
though.
either, but I've heard about it.
They have,
And
Coos-
they already have a Portland.
they already have a Coos County in New Hampshire, so, you know.
Well, that would, we could do that,
Oh, they say COA.
increase our tax base.
COA, yeah, but it's spelled Coos.
All right, I'm going to cover a few quick items then, very quickly. Commissioner Sweet, the fair has been canceled, is my understanding, and they're
Yes, it
looking,
has.
and they're looking at ways to perhaps still do the auction virtually.
Yeah, and they're not using the terminology or the phrase that the fair is canceled. They're saying the fair as we know it, with carnival rides, entertainment, and food booths, will not go on this year. The fair board is intent on working with the 4-H group to have a 4-H livestock show and auction, and with other groups that wish to use the fairground for events where we could provide some service to the people, and particularly the youth of the county, in spite of not having a conventional fair. And there are ongoing discussions to that end.
Well, that's disappointing because I won't be able to have a lion burger. Is that what you're telling me?
I think that is what he's telling you.
I've
Not
had a
this
lion
year,
burger
Bob.
since before I was born every year.
Well,
And I
maybe
had
we can
pie
get
at the
them to-
Bridge Grange and a scone at the Boy Scouts. What the heck?
Well, you know, a lot of people, maybe they could just whoop one up for you.
That's gonna be disappointing. What?
We're gonna go on a diet this year.
I guess so. That's disappointing. And by the way, the Myrtle Point graduation chicken too.
It's disappointing in many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kids that have worked really hard for
They
this.
have.
There's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
really looking forward to it. It's a big fundraiser for a lot of
Mhm.
people, and, not even to mention the fair is gonna have a very difficult time. not having any revenue this year. So, yeah, I think it's a huge disappointment.
Yeah,
I
it
understand why the Fair Board has chosen the route that they have, and I don't know that they have any other choice under the governor's executive orders right now, but still a big disappointment. All right.
I don't think there's anyone that's as disappointed as the members of the Fair Board are.
I can imagine.
They
They've been
worked
working
so
really-
hard and have been so successful, I think, of getting our fair on an upward trend, that this is very disappointing to them. And they've waited to the last possible minute to make their final decision, but they're pretty realistic about, trying to, it takes a lot of money, a lot of sponsorships, a lot of work to put the fair on. And it starts early in the year, and we're really almost past that time to start that work right now. So
Yeah.
it's with great sadness that this decision has been made.
Well, we appreciate their work, and we appreciate you being liaison to that group. You're doing a great job.
They're doing a great job. Thank you.
Wanted to remind everybody that today is Election Day, and just assuming you haven't voted yet, because some people might not have, you have until 8 o'clock tonight to get your ballot dropped off in any ballot box in the state of Oregon. Do not drop it in the mail because it won't be counted if it's dropped in the mail at this point, but it will be counted if it's dropped in a ballot box. So find yourself a ballot box. You can find them online at OregonVotes.org, I think, .org. And your vote matters. Bob won by 14 votes here
Yeah,
a few years
2
ago. He
elections
was just
ago,
talking
yeah.
about that. So,
Yeah, out of 26 or 27,000, it was 14.
yeah. And he said if his wife had voted for him, it would have been 16.
Yeah. Actually, I had a recount. It was 12 when it went to 14, but that's really close out of that many votes.
It is. People always think that their vote doesn't matter,
No.
but especially in these local races, every vote matters.
Judge
So-
Gillespie won by just a few votes many years ago, too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it matters. As everyone I'm sure is aware, we are in phase 1 of reopening now. The phase 1 reopening started on Friday. It doesn't mean businesses have to be open, but if they choose to be open, they can be. There's been some interesting things that have gone on. Being a commissioner, sometimes it seems like, especially right now during this coronavirus epidemic, things are a moving target. Yesterday, a judge out in Baker County ruled that the governor's executive orders were illegal and issued a temporary injunction. By 7:45 last night, the Oregon Supreme Court had issued a stay on that injunction. So it's just a constant process of trying to analyze where we're at any given moment. My understanding is that the Supreme Court wants briefings by Friday, and but they don't have a date yet in the hearing. So there's a stay on that until that happens. So for now, we continue to proceed as if, we're in phase 1, and in 21 days, we will be looking at moving to phase 2 as long as everything goes as planned. So far, I think things are going really well. I see people obeying the rules and being respectful of, what's in place. Our Coos Health and Wellness Department is working really hard to direct people to the right places to get their questions answered, because that sector opening guidance is all happening at the state level. It's not anything that's being driven or decided by the counties. We wish many times that we had more decision-making ability in this, but we simply do not. But if people want to contact us, we're happy to help direct them to places they can get their questions answered, or if it isn't that hard of a question, we can usually answer it. Coos Health and Wellness is having a town hall tonight. They have them every Tuesday online on YouTube from 5:30 to 6:30. Our assessor has suggested that we put a link to that on our website, and we will see if we can get that done today to make it easier for people to find it. If you go to their town hall, you're able to ask questions online, and they will answer them. There have been, I'll move on to the next topic really quick. There's been repeated concerns about the amount of money that the county is getting under the CARES Act, which was the money that the federal government has allocated to help with the costs. The state e-board met on Friday and made a decision about how that money would be allocated, but most counties are not happy with that decision. And I have seen the letter this morning that the Association of Oregon Counties intends to send, and I believe it's being signed and sent out right now, talking about our concerns about the way that money is being allocated and the restrictions that are being put on it, when of course Multnomah, Washington, and Portland did not have the same restrictions because their funding came directly from the federal government. So that is also something that unfortunately is not as cut and dried as we wish, but we believe there is at least a solid amount of legislative support for a different plan than the one that was necessarily put out on Friday. So that's something that Megan, I'll keep you updated on. And also in other news, we found out that our drought declaration was signed by the governor. So Coos County is officially in a drought. We did have more rain last month than we'd had previously and more than the average, but we were already 3 inches short for the year, so we're still about 2.5 inches short for the year. So I know when people look outside and they think it's raining, they assume that there's no drought. Unfortunately, it's not quite that simple, and we do still have a net water shortfall for the year. And if you have questions about that, you can direct them to Gabe as our new emergency manager. Anything else?
Well, on a personal note,
You got a dog.
no.
Oh.
I got something better than that. I got a haircut last Friday. Wow, that felt good, I tell you. And then I got notice in the mail. I have to appear for jury duty for the month of June, but then listening to the DA, he says there's not going to be any juries, so I'm kind of home free.
But you still have to call in.
Oh, yeah, of course I do. They might have one.
Yes. All right. With that, I think we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and don't forget to vote.